Hello! Today I'm going to be showing you how to achieve a full face of makeup for a studio photo shoot. All of the products that I'm using are going to be demonstrated on my mom so you can see how it applies on a more mature skin type. I hope you find this video informative and helpful. If you have any questions on the products that I'm using, please reference the makeup kit list. By the way, some of these products will vary because they have to cater to your specific skin type. So for reference, my mom has pretty normal to borderline dry skin. So that's why I've chosen the products that I have from that list that will work best for her. First, we're gonna start off with primer, which is the first step in your makeup routine. If you have dry skin, normally your daily moisturizer will just work best as your primer just to keep you hydrated. If you have oily skin, I would recommend a mattifying primer. But today, my mom has not done her skincare yet, so I'm gonna be using a moisturizing primer and also a pore filling primer. The moisturizing primer will make her skin hydrated and a little bit luminous, and then the pore filling primer will fill in some of the larger pores that she has around her nose, which will make her foundation apply really smooth on top. When you're applying makeup for a studio photo shoot, you need to find the right balance between enough makeup and not too much makeup. So I'd say just start off with a pump and then you can build your coverage from there. So I'm just gonna tap this all over her face and distribute it really evenly. You don't wanna overdo it in one particular area. To blend in the foundation, I would recommend first starting with a brush. First, you wanna swipe the product just to make sure it covers your face. And then as you go, you can start doing little circles and that will really blend in the product to your skin. You also wanna make sure that you get all the way up into your hairline because you don't wanna have a harsh line between your forehead and then your hair because then it'll give away that you're kind of wearing makeup. You also have to make sure to bring it down to your neck. Next, you wanna use a blending sponge. You're gonna take this flat side here and just pat all over your skin to make sure that if there is any excess foundation lying on top of your skin, this will kind of get rid of it. One tip that I would offer to you guys is to also bring your foundation up closer to your under eye so that you can apply less concealer. So my mom doesn't prefer a lot of concealer, so she likes to just conceal right in the inner corner here where she has the darkest for her under eye circles. So I just put one dot in each area. I'll also be applying a little bit up here to conceal the darkness on top of her lid. For concealer, I would recommend blending it out with a sponge because it gives the most natural finish. When it comes to concealing the rest of your face, you want to highlight the center of your face to bring more attention to that area, and it'll also kind of slim down the edges of your face. Take a little line down the center of your nose, up here on your forehead, and then right here in what's called your Cupid's bow. When it comes to picking your shade in concealer, you want to go at the maximum just one shade up from your natural skin tone. If you go too bright, it'll actually end up emphasizing areas of your skin that you don't want emphasized. So the best way to apply concealer is to dab with your sponge. A huge mistake that a lot of people make is that they'll drag their skin down like this. It's really bad to pull your skin like this. It'll actually bring your whole face down. You want to just do little tapping motions. So now that we've applied the foundation and the concealer, the next step in your makeup routine is to powder down your face. So I know a lot of people like to leave their face just like this because you have a very natural, radiant finish. But when it comes to studio flash photography, something like this will not show up well on camera. So it's very important to actually powder down your face. When it comes to using a powder brush, you want something that's very fluffy and not densely packed. So the bristles here are very loose, and take a little bit of powder in the cap. You don't want to put too much because again, you don't want to look dry on camera. So I'm going to take a little bit on this brush, and first we're going to powder her under eyes. That's the first step of which you should powder. When you powder them down, it'll make sure that your under eyes don't crease. The next step you want to do is powder your same T-zone. I keep saying T-zone because that is where our skin tends to get the oiliest. Start up here and then just work your way down with the powder. You don't need to constantly keep dipping in. The powder itself spreads out pretty far, and again, you don't want to look overly powdered. I don't personally recommend using bronzer or contour when it comes to photography because it comes off very unnatural and fake in pictures. but I do think it's very important to use a blush, and my favorite blushes are by MAC because I feel like they offer a very nice shade range and they also have a very long lasting power. So when you're applying your blush, you want to coat the bristles of your brush pretty evenly, but you don't want all of this color to just be slapped onto your face. So I'd recommend tapping some off on the back of your hand. When you're applying your blush, you want to smile like this so that the apples of your cheeks show, and that's where you want to apply your blush to get the most youthful effect. I'd also strongly recommend for blush that you start with a little bit and build your way up. If you apply too much at first, it'll be hard to take it away, but you can always build up more color. So now that we've applied the desired amount of blush, this next step is optional. I'd recommend that if you have oily skin that you should skip this step, but for someone like my mom who has dry skin, adding a little bit of a natural subtle highlighter will actually come off very beautiful on camera. You don't want to look shiny on camera, but it'd be nice to highlight your natural features. So adding a little bit of highlighter on the very top of your cheekbone can give off a very glowing from within effect. So now that we've applied it on her cheeks, it can also be nice to highlight the center of your nose. Again, all of this is just to bring a lot of attention to the center of your face. So now that we've applied all of the powder products to her face, it's really good to kind of spritz your face down with a setting spray to melt all the powders together so that they look more natural and cohesive. All right, so we are back and my mom's face has dried down from the setting spray. You have to make sure that your face is completely dry before you continue with the rest of your makeup. So now let's get started on the eyes. First, we're going to be filling in her eyebrows. My mom naturally has pretty good brows, so this won't take a lot of effort on her, but you want to kind of use a brow pencil that has a really skinny tip because this will give you the most natural looking hair strokes. So first you want to take the little spoolie side of the brow pencil and kind of just comb up all of your hairs. And now you want to flip to the pencil side and just start outlining your natural brow. It's really important that you kind of stick to your actual outline. Don't try to go too much above or too much below because it'll look like you used a marker to fill in your eyebrows, and that is very unnatural. If you do happen to have sparser brows towards the front of your brow, you want to make the brow strokes go upward like this. And then as you start getting towards the middle and the end, you can start making your strokes more horizontal. But towards the front, definitely make them vertical. So now that we've finished her eyebrows, we're gonna start moving into eyeshadow. For studio photography, I would recommend that you keep your eyeshadow very simple and also very matte. Anything glittery or shimmery on your eye will not reflect well on camera and it will draw attention away from your face. This is what the inside looks like, and it also includes a brush. This is what we're going to be using today because in case you don't own any other eyeshadow brushes, I want to make sure you know how to do this tutorial using the brush that's provided with the palette. Basically, for the entire tutorial, we're going to be using this fluffy edge of the brush. First, we're going to start off with this bone white shade. I'm going to use this to set her entire eyelid and all the way up to the brow bone. This is going to give you a really nice blank canvas to apply your other shadows on top of. We're just going to go in order of all the shades and start building them up onto her eye. So next we're going to go in with this light brown shade and we're going to start dusting that in this part of her eye. This is called your transition and it's used to shape out your eye so that you have some definition. Next we're going to take this middle shade and we're just going in order of the palette. So same thing, take the middle shade now and just also outline where we put that first shade. These two shades right here, you want to use very sparingly. First pick up this reddish brown, the second to deepest shade, and you want to just start tapping it into this outer part of your eye. Just in the outer corner here, and you don't need to blend or anything, just tap. For the last dark brown on the palette, flip over to the other side of the brush, which is this more precise pencil-shaped brush. Tap very lightly into the shade. We're gonna use the tiniest amount just on the outer corner, so just right here. Turn over your brush to the clean side on the fluffy end. You want to go dip back into the first white shade that we used, and you're going to put this all over the lid until you get to the deep part of your eye. So now that we finished up the top half of her eye, we're gonna start working on the lash line. You wanna add a little bit of shadow so that it doesn't look uneven. And for this, I would just recommend using these lighter two browns. I wouldn't recommend going into these deeper shades. So just take a little mixture of both of these and flip it like this. You can even pinch the brush so that it gets very precise and small. And you wanna look upward and just dust right along your lash line. So now that we've gotten through the eyeshadow part of this makeup look, we're gonna move on to eyeliner. The one that I recommend that is very affordable is by NYX. It's a lot easier to use a liquid liner with a thin brush top like this because it'll apply a very precise line on top of your lid. So what you wanna do is start in the inner corner over here, and you wanna make your line very thin in the first half of your eye, and then it can get thicker as you go out. So we're gonna start with just a little bit here and make a very, very thin line as if it's nothing there. And then you can go to the outer half of your eye and make a thick line until they connect. And then you just fill in these sparse areas. So that is an example of what the eyeliner should look like, thinner towards the inner half of your eye and thicker as you go out. You want to add some eyeliner in your waterline on the lower lashes, and so you want to take a pencil eyeliner for this, something that's very creamy and easy to use. My mom is going to be doing this on herself. Holds down her eye like this until you can see the waterline, and then you apply it right there. All right, so we are almost at the end of this whole makeup tutorial. So when it comes to lipstick for studio photography, you want to make sure that your lips are matte. You don't want anything shiny, so I'd recommend staying away from lip gloss. All you need right now is a matte lipstick and a lip liner. When it comes to lining your lips, you want to take a sharpened lip liner that's a little bit creamy so it glides on, and you really just want to outline your natural lip shape. I do not recommend overlining or trying to make your lips look bigger because everything on camera will be caught and it's very noticeable. When you get to the top of your lips, our lips naturally have an indent in the center here, so make sure you outline that because if you don't, your lips will just look like a curve. Now that we've got the basic outline of her lips, we're going to take a bullet matte lipstick. My mom personally prefers a cross between a pink and a red. When it comes to applying lipstick on your bottom lip, you can use the larger surface area so that you can cover more of your lip in one swipe. But when you get to the top, you want to use this corner sharper edge so that you can also outline your lips as you go. After you've applied your lipstick, make sure to smile with your teeth so you can check if you have any lipstick on your tooth. That is a really big reminder before you go get your pictures taken. So the last step is optional. This is your pretty much concluded full face of makeup. If you have oily skin, I would recommend using a setting spray for the second time, and that will just really lock in your makeup. But this one will be different than the first one you use. I'd recommend a mattifying setting spray to make sure that your oils don't start coming out like an hour or two after you apply your makeup. And the one that I would recommend is the NYX Matte Finish Setting Spray. And now we have the finished makeup look. This is a really easy go-to look for any studio photography. Please reference the list that I sent out to get products that match your skin type. If you have any questions regarding how I apply the makeup or specific tools, you can reach out to me and I'll be happy to answer your questions. I hope you found this helpful, and a huge thank you to my mom to being a really good model. She is now ready to get some pictures taken, and I hope you guys also enjoy this look, and I hope your pictures turn out amazing. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.
Bye.